Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. This is Gianni DePocia, your host. It's Wednesday, so that means it's time to review some of the recent geocosmic activity as well as the signatures that are coming up. So, needless to say, it's been a pretty volatile week at a mundane level. Some big geopolitical events unfolding last weekend in the Middle East. And that's not all that uncommon to see when you have a signature like Mars square Pluto, which occurred on Sunday, the 8th of October. Now, obviously, the conflict began the day before, but when you're having two signatures like that are in an applying aspect, the themes tend to be more intense. So let's go ahead and take a look at how some markets reacted. Interestingly, we saw stocks pretty much bottle rocket off of a low from Friday. So we reversed higher. We are in a very intense geocosmic critical reversal zone right now. And it began with Venus going into the sign of Virgo on the 8th. And then we had Mars square Pluto the same day. Then we had Pluto go direct on the 10th, followed by Venus opposite Saturn on the same day. And then tomorrow on the 12th of October, we will have Mars ingress into the sign of Scorpio. So Mars rules Scorpio. And, that is not the type of signature I would think that is indicative of peace. It's a very intense warlike transit, so we need to be on alert for escalation of geopolitical tensions over the next month or so. And then we will have Mars trine Saturn on the 13th, and then a solar eclipse at 21 degrees of Libra on Saturday the 14th. So needless to say, a very auspicious time for all these geopolitical events unfolding right now. And the big question that we ask ourselves in markets, especially in stocks, is, are we just rallying to form a corrective high in what is a bearish primary cycle from the 25th of August? Or did we perhaps complete a longer term cycle low last Friday, which was within the orb of the critical reversal zone that we are in right now? If we go ahead and take a look at tech through the NASDAQ is leading the market higher still this week, but we're at a critical time. If stocks make another high this week, it would be a lower high, and then it really comes down to whether we take out the low from September, or if we can form another higher low, we may have grounds to commence another rally. But next week, there aren't that many geocosmic signatures, but the intensity of the activity does start to pick up following the 21st of October, when the sun will square Pluto. So a lot of hard aspects between planetary malefics right now, adding to the intensity of this time period. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 10-year Treasury yield, which started off the week coming down. Bonds were bidding. Some might say it was a flight to safety trade, but we were due for a major cycle low in bonds, so a major cycle high in the 10-year yield. But the trend remains firmly higher for interest rates, and we just had another higher than expected inflation report here on Wednesday morning. There is another inflation report tomorrow on Thursday. But today there also is the FOMC minutes. So the Fed going to be releasing the minutes from their most recent meeting. And last we heard from them, they're remaining data dependent. So going to see if we get another reversal here, which is entirely possible given, the hard aspect between Venus and Saturn, and Pluto going direct. Pluto rules debt, Saturn rules structure, and bonds are the foundation of the modern monetary system. So a very important time zone or time band for bonds right now, and especially as we're coming up into Scorpio season in just another week or two. Debt and things of the underworld are going to be on the forefront. They always say that the veil between the physical reality and the unseen world is at its thinnest during Scorpio season. So let's go ahead and take a look at crude oil, USO. Big rebound coming out of the low from Friday following geopolitical events, but selling off so far this week. If we close this gap, it's a pretty nasty sign. We're still caught between two potential primary cycle labelings, whether we completed a low in USO back here in March, but in spot crude, it would have been here in May, or if we completed one at the end of August, it's still 50-50 at this point. Let's take a look at GLD gold. We are eagerly anticipating Mars ingressing into the sign of Scorpio tomorrow. Tends to be a good transit for precious metals. And, we usually look for a low before that ingress occurs while Mars is in Libra. And that did happen on the 5th. Last Thursday, we've seen a nice rally off that low. It's been a rally of over 3% so far. So we'll see if that continues. And usually it does in the first, few degrees of Scorpio and even beyond. So definitely is a geocosmic backdrop for a sustained rally in precious metals. But from a purely macroeconomic or technical standpoint, still a lot of resistance here. And we need to see whether interest rates start climbing again, because that has been a major headwind for precious metals. I want to take a look at the US dollar here. We're going to use the euro. And then we're going to look at the yen again as well. So the euro catching a nice bid here too, off the highs of the day a little bit. We are, again, coming out of a hard aspect between Venus and Saturn. So could be seeing another lower high being complete here. Venus rules currencies. And if it's a lower high, it would represent a continuation of the downtrend or reinforcement of the downtrend that we've seen since the high in July, which was within a week of Venus turning retrograde. USD JPY, this has been on major watch alert for subscribers of MMA. We're very bearish on the yen, whether we look at the euro yen or the euro or the yen against the dollar. So it could have completed a major cycle low recently. And again, looking for another resolution higher in this very strong uptrend in this market. Let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin on the defensive today, but it is falling into this geocosmic critical reversal zone. So if we can complete another high or low here, that would be a good sign. And ultimately, we're willing to give it the benefit of the doubt from the long side, as long as we don't take out this low from the 15th of June. The concern here is that we formed another lower high here on October 2nd. And if that was the lower high, it could be the first step in a major downtrend and eventually a decline into a 15-month cycle low that could be due by the end of the year. So let's see. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover with you today. Aside from that, markets are waiting for the FOMC, which are going to be released later this afternoon. And then we have key inflation data later this week. And if it comes in hotter than expected, that would be 3 in a row. So, you could say 2 is a coincidence, 3 is a trend. And that would imply that the Fed's going to keep raising interest rates or start raising rates again. And, it's worth noting that the rhetoric surrounding rate hikes started to shift again while Venus was retrograde just a few weeks ago. And so they claim to be staying data dependent, but I must say that I don't have all that much conviction into that position, because I remember transitory inflation. Now the Fed's saying higher for longer. So, we are due for long-term lows in debt markets. So we'll see if we get a major reversal out of a low in the coming months. So again, thank you so much for watching the weekly market recap with MMA Cycles. Just a couple brief announcements. We are in forecast season. Reserve your copy now for forecast 2024. Ray is working diligently on that. And myself, Puyan Zulfergarnia, Wyatt Fellows, and a couple other analysts, Ulrich Aspergen as well, are beginning our analysis on various markets for next year. This is also MMA monthly weekend, meaning that we will have the October publication for the monthly cycles report on Monday and Tuesday of next week. So all details can be found at www.mmacycles.com. We also just concluded year 1 of the Merriman Market Timing Academy. It was a great success. So we thank all of our students for joining us in this endeavor. And if it's something that interests you and you are thinking about joining us for year 2, feel free to reach out at mmta@mmacycles.com. We will start year 2 of MMTA on January 20th, 2024. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back same time, same place next week.